highly volatile and historically anomalous atmospheric setup has triggered a series of severe thunderstorms, destructive straight-line winds, giant hail, and multiple tornadoes across the province of Alberta. The extreme weather events, which began on the evening of Monday, June 15, 2026, and extended well into Wednesday, June 17, 2026, have left a trail of structural devastation, widespread power outages, and agricultural ruins spanning from the far northwestern Peace River country down to the southeastern plains near the United States border. Meteorologists from Environment and Climate Change Canada, ECCC, and structural forensic researchers from the Northern Tornadoes Project, NTP, at Western University have been deployed to conduct comprehensive ground and drone surveys. Preliminary assessments confirm that this outbreak marks a significant escalation in the 2026 Canadian Prairies storm season, bringing the provincial tornado count to double digits and causing millions of dollars in localized property damage. The most shocking and structurally damaging event of the outbreak occurred in northwestern Alberta, a geographic region historically less prone to violent, supercell-driven tornadoes compared to the central foothills and southern plains. On Monday evening, June 15, 2026, an isolated and rapidly intensifying supercell thunderstorm tracked over the Smoky River region. At approximately 8 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, a multi-vortex tornado touched down with brutal force near the small, predominantly Francophone village of Girouxville, located roughly 50 kilometers south of Peace River. The tornado cut a direct path through peripheral residential properties. Multiple single-family homes had their roofs completely sheared off, exposing interiors to torrential downpours. Windows were violently shattered by flying debris, and siding was stripped clean off external walls. On the eastern edge of the village, a massive commercial agricultural operation bore the brunt of the vortex. Several heavy-duty steel machine sheds were entirely flattened, twisted around heavy tractors like tinfoil. Multiple large-capacity grain storage bins and granaries were crumpled, ruptured, and thrown hundreds of meters into adjacent fields, scattering tons of stored crops. The high-velocity winds snapped utility poles like matchsticks. Heavy, century-old trees were uprooted, crushing parked vehicles and blocking key residential corridors. Directly following the devastation in Girouxville, the tornadic cell pushed southeastward toward the neighboring town of Falher. Marcel Maure, the Director of Emergency Management for the Municipal District of Smoky River, reported that while the primary tornado funnel briefly lifted back into the cloud base after exiting Girouxville, the intense rotation quickly reformed and touched down a second time on the rural outskirts of Falher. The second touchdown primarily targeted open farmlands and auxiliary outbuildings. Granaries were shifted off their concrete foundations, and specialized beekeeping infrastructure, vital to Falher's prominent commercial honey industry, sustained severe wind damage, displacing thousands of hives and causing immediate economic hardship for local apiarists. Continuing its relentless eastward march along an 80-kilometer trajectory of atmospheric instability, the supercell retained its severe rotational characteristics well into the late-night hours. Approximately 90 minutes after the Girouxville impact, a localized touchdown and prominent funnel cloud sightings were officially recorded near High Prairie. Due to the dense rural and forested nature of the terrain between Falher and High Prairie, early damage assessments were delayed. However, rural landowners reported extensive swaths of flattened timber, destroyed perimeter fencing, and minor structural damage to barns. High Prairie itself experienced intense localized flash flooding as drainage systems failed to handle the accompanying deluge. As the northern system weakened, a secondary, even more unstable cold front collided with a hot, moisture-laden air mass moving north from the United States. This boundary ignited a chain of violent supercells across southern Alberta on Tuesday afternoon, June 16, 2026, prompting frantic emergency interventions. While the city of Calgary escaped a direct tornado hit, the southwestern edge of the atmospheric system delivered a severe beating to the municipal area. In southeast Calgary, particularly within the neighborhood of Bonavista Downs, a severe microburst, or intense straight-line wind event, ripped through residential streets. Heavy, mature tree branches were brought down across roadways, temporarily trapping residents in their driveways. Fences were flattened across entire blocks, and flying patio furniture caused widespread minor damage to vehicles and home windows. Municipal cleanup crews worked through the night to clear debris from arterial roads. The most acute life safety threat developed in the southeastern corner of the province, where ECCC radars detected extreme, tight mid-level rotation, forcing Alberta Emergency Alert to issue critical, highest-tier red tornado warnings. Residents were forced into basement cold rooms and storm shelters as a massive wall cloud hovered directly over the area. While a large, highly visible funnel cloud was filmed by storm chasers, the core of the rotation thankfully remained just high enough or over unpopulated range roads to avoid a catastrophic mass casualty event in the town center. The wider county areas faced severe straight-line wind damage. Outlying cattle ranches reported displaced livestock after miles of barbed wire fencing were torn up by the wind. Wind pumps and solar-powered watering stations utilized by local ranchers were severely damaged. The pure kinetic energy of this storm system was put on full display as it swept past Medicine Hat and the military training base at CFB Suffield/Ralston. Official government weather stations recorded breathtaking hurricane-force wind velocities. In Medicine Hat, straight-line winds peaked at an astonishing 122 kilometers per hour. A nearby monitoring station in Ralston registered a maximum gust of 135 kilometers per hour. These extreme winds acted as a widespread horizontal battering ram. Commercial signage across Medicine Hat was ripped apart, strip mall facades were compromised, and a partial roof collapse was reported at an industrial warehouse on the city's periphery. The core of the southern supercell dropped massive updraft-sustained hail over the city of Brooks. Hailstones measuring up to 4.5 centimeters in diameter, equivalent to the size of golf balls, rained down continuously for nearly 20 minutes. The economic fallout in Brooks is expected to be severe. Hundreds of vehicles parked in open lots suffered shattered windshields and extensive body denting. Residential skylights were punched through, and local crop fields surrounding the city limits suffered severe defoliation, stripping young corn and wheat crops down to the soil. Despite the structural violence of the storms, the overall human toll remains miraculously low, a testament to modern architectural standards and rapid community organizing. No fatalities or critical injuries have been reported anywhere in the province. In Girouxville, local medical clinics treated a small number of residents for minor lacerations, cuts, and puncture wounds. These injuries occurred almost exclusively during the immediate post-storm aftermath, as community members actively engaged in clearing sharp aluminum siding, shattered window glass, and splintered timber. ATIO Electric deployed emergency grid restoration crews immediately following the passage of the storm front in the north. Working through challenging overnight conditions, technicians bypassed snapped mainline poles to systematically restore power to Girouxville and surrounding rural customers within 24 to 36 hours. In the Peace River region, a massive volunteer effort materialized spontaneously. Neighbors utilized personal tractors, front-end loaders, and chainsaws to clear blocked roads long before provincial emergency transport vehicles could arrive on the scene. The data analyzed by ECCC and the Northern Tornadoes Project paints a picture of a highly atypical weather event for this time of year and location. Prior to the mid-June outbreak, Alberta had recorded 9 tornadoes in 2026. However, all 9 previous events, occurring primarily between May 17th and May 18th in the southern reaches of the province, were classified as landspouts. Landspouts are weaker, non-supercell tornadoes that form from the ground up under growing convective clouds and rarely cause significant structural harm. The Girouxville event was the 10th confirmed tornado of the 2026 season, but marked the very first true supercell-driven convective tornado of the year. These are born from deep, rotating updrafts within massive storm complexes, carrying vastly superior destructive potential. Historically, the vast majority of Alberta's damaging tornadoes originate in the central foothills, near Rocky Mountain House, Red Deer, or Calgary, and track eastward into Saskatchewan. The formation of a highly destructive, supercell-driven tornado as far north as the Peace River region, latitude 55.7 degrees north, is rare. It requires an unusual northward surge of high dew point atmospheric moisture from the Gulf of Mexico colliding with an exceptionally sharp, low-pressure upper air trough slicing across British Columbia. The timing and severity of this outbreak have amplified ongoing anxieties regarding climate volatility, property safety, and the cost of living in Western Canada. This latest disaster lands at a time when Alberta property owners are already grappling with staggering insurance hikes. Recent analytical briefs published by the Insurance Bureau of Canada, IBC, reveal that the average home insurance premium in Alberta has surged by 55.8% over the past 5 years. This aggressive pricing curve is driven directly by the compounding frequency of severe convective storms, multi-million-dollar hail payouts, such as the Calgary hail disaster of 2020, and escalating wildfire risks. For small municipalities like Girouxville and Falher, recovering from an unexpected EF1 or EF2 scale tornado presents a massive fiscal challenge. Local tax bases are small, and municipal budgets will be stretched to cover the immediate costs of debris management, infrastructure repair, and overtime pay for emergency personnel. The destruction of complex farming machinery and granary systems right at the start of the summer growing season could disrupt local agricultural supply chains, delaying field operations and complicating grain storage options ahead of the autumn harvest.
Look at that! Pretty rank, okay? That's all that got blown off.